Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like a stain. We make the whole room drop and everybody saying, we want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Enough jumps, the middle finger make my yeah.
Welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D.Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this January 5th, 2017. Oh my goodness, we've made it into another year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I think most of us are happy to be done with 2016. It certainly just kept throwing haymakers at us towards the end of the year there with more celebrity deaths that none of us could handle. But we, got through it. We got through the year, and here we are. Sorry to our 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fans out there that missed us for the past month. I don't know what happened to the schedule in December. Things just fell apart on us fast, and
just didn't work into the realm.
Favor. I tried. Well, really, I tried to get out of town. I went to visit my mother in South Carolina for Christmas, and I wanted to leave early on that Thursday, which we would have done a Christmas show on the 22nd, thinking I might beat traffic. Whoa.
Traffic was backed up?
Not so much. Let's say hello officially to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Rod Jr.
Hi, Scott. How are you? Did you have a very good Christmas?
I did, and I see your lovely daughter there, right, in her, that wasn't actually a birthday dress, right?
Yes, it was.
Even though she's near the Christmas tree in this photo.
Well, her birthday is right after New Year's, so it's really...
Was it yesterday or the day before?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, so happy birthday to Jenna, who is in studio tonight with her brother Connor, who will be out in a couple minutes, not yet, just a couple minutes, as we had promised him the opportunity to do a little musical number for us for our Christmas show, which we never got to the Christmas show. We're not doing an actual official year in review show like we usually do this time of year also. We kind of just getting to it, back into the whole thing, and we're going to boycott that whole thing. So anyways, but Connor is here, Jen is here, your lovely wife is here too.
Yes,
Very nice to see her as well. And our director extraordinaire, Mike Toohey, is here running things. And there he is, looking all ghostly next to our usual crew member, Mike McFadden.
Maniac Jet. He don't want to hear about the Jets.
Yeah, I don't know. I texted him today, said we were back live tonight, and he said he didn't know if he'd make it. I think he had a feeling we would be talking about his coaching situation. His terrible team. He keeps dodging us lately as the season fell apart. But they were at the holiday party here at the station earlier in December. Bob's show Spotlight On is on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Mike's show Expose Cinema Fridays nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. In the background, and we will mention also, since we are live, 203-792-4101 if anyone wants to call and say, where have you guys been?
Yeah, you guys want to talk about
things
anything
to talk about, and you've been gone for a month and whatever. So 203-792-4101 is the number if you want to call. I do want to mention also in the background, we always play the nice positive vibration sounds of Fatty Roots.
And you said you have been down to see him.
Yes, the band is back together finally. They had all done some offshoot projects in the last year and a half or so. Been close to 2 years since they performed together, but they are doing a residency at the Acoustic Cafe in Bridgeport for the entire month of January, every Wednesday night, 8:30 to 10:30, and they did not miss a beat last night. Sounded like they had been playing together this entire time they've been off. They sounded great.
Are they going back to the studio too?
I don't know, as far as that goes, but right now they're just happy to be back together again. They all seemed real happy to be playing with each other. They enjoy the other things they did, but this is, really what they like, so they were happy. And so I'll probably be down there a few more times this month, or at least a couple times to see them, and then we'll see where else they get playing.
Maybe get a video clip and.
I think I will towards the end of the month try to do a little video. I haven't done a music video for them in a long time, so maybe I'll try to put something together and help them out a little bit. But that was great. I mentioned, my travels were pretty good. The traffic was a little rough. Got some pictures on the way down though. There's George Washington Bridge. So it was good. I'm working on this whole photo series, some creative shots from the car. So I did some of that this summer. I was happy to be back in the car doing that again. I got some decent shots. There's a couple right now just to show off a little bit of what I'm working at. That was on the way back. First day traveling back, weather was good. Second day, I got kind of lucky because they were talking about that nor'easter possibly. That's the day I was driving back. But I was kind of behind whatever happened. I saw some snow on the ground in Pennsylvania, but I drove through some heavy fog.
Yeah.
But it was good. And there's a nice shot of Pennsylvania. The death trap, that could be Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, but I got lucky. It wasn't so bad. I was very concerned about that. But I made it back safely. And here is Christmas Eve on Myrtle Beach.
Yeah,
it was like 70, 75 degrees.
Yes, I like that photo. It's beautiful.
It was a pretty nice shot. And this next one was, there was a mist as well, so I got some interesting shots there. But that was the travels, and it was good to be away. Good to see my mom, certainly, and spend time with the family for Christmas, but we are happy to be back and happy to get going. I guess maybe we should bring Connor in now if he is ready, so we can do his little musical number, and then we can get to all the sporting news that we have missed. Does Jenna want to come in quick because it was her birthday?
Yes.
Hi, Jenna. How are you?
All right. Jenna's had
no questions. We got to move on.
Jenna has had a very selected career last. Especially
Jenna,
in
you
December.
did your whole firecracker, which we talked about a lot. Nutcracker.
Nutcracker.
Whatever. You caught me off guard. I didn't know we were talking about this again. Anyways, this is Connor's portion of the show. So happy birthday to you. Thank you. All right, Connor, you ready?
Song.
What are you gonna play for us?
Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Jingle bell, Batman bell, Batman play the name. The Batmobile, lost the tree on Joker, got away. Hey, jingle bell,
all right.
man, boy.
Wait, Connor, come here.
Connor, come here.
Let's see that shirt.
That Star Wars shirt.
Have you seen Rogue One?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope. We went and saw.
Easy does
we
it.
went and
Easy
saw
does
at the.
Thank you and goodbye. What'd you go see?
We went and saw Sing.
Jenna, that's enough.
And it was a very interesting.
Kids can't get them off the camera once you let them on. I'll tell you that.
It was a very interesting.
Oh yeah, it was good.
Oh, it was real good.
I will say Rogue One was tremendous.
Yeah.
Unbelievable movie. So I would highly recommend anybody
And I would highly
getting out
recommend
there.
going to see Sing, especially Mike the Rat. He was excellent.
I saw actually previews for that.
Yeah.
It did look pretty good. All right, well that's good to hear. All right, Bob, you ready to get into this?
Let's go.
Let's talk some sports.
Let's talk sports.
We covered all these other extra stuffs we had.
Yeah.
We can actually get into it.
Yes.
NFL wildcard weekend.
Yes.
And your Giants are, of course, there with the highlight game of the weekend. It'll come at the end of the weekend, Sunday at 4 o'clock. The Saturday games aren't that great.
No, they were kind of.
Unfortunately, with some of the injuries, especially to the Raiders.
Yeah.
We got Raiders-Texans Saturday late afternoon. The Raiders fell out of that 2 seed all the way down to the 5 on the final game of the season after the really devastating injury to their QB Carr, who broke his leg in week 16 there, the second to last game of the year. And they were up big in that game too. It was really disappointing because they've had such a great year. And they could have been a legitimate threat to the Patriots, one of the top teams in the AFC. And they could have actually been the number 1 seed as well if that injury didn't take place. But they lose their QB, and then they lose their final game of the year. And the Chiefs, our former Lever director Kevin Gallagher has been texting me like crazy.
Oh, they're going all the way, right?
Right. He thinks their defense is good enough to beat anybody. That's what he keeps telling me for the past month or so. We will see. But it's Raiders Texans Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. Another not so great game. Lions versus the Seahawks. Lions lost 3 straight, fell out of first place, but they did manage to hold on to that wild card spot in large part due to your G-men taking care of the hapless and pathetic Washington Redskins. Oh my God, Bob, how could they not win that final game when the Giants have nothing to play for except for just the rivalry of it and pure hatred of the other team.
Right.
And they put up an effort, but they started taking some of their players out in the second half.
Oh yeah.
Beckham didn't play in the second half, and still, the Redskins at home, they win and they know they're in the playoffs, and they just lay an egg. And he throws that interception late. and then Eli throws the long pass down the sideline, sets up the game-winning field goal, and the Redskins are done for the year. Huge disappointment. So the Lions sneak in, even though they lost to the Packers that night for the division game that was on the line, but they were able to make it into the playoffs anyways. Sunday afternoon, Dolphins at Steelers. I think this game will actually be better, maybe than Vegas.
Better watch game.
Well, it's two. I mean, the Dolphins have a storied, history.
Yeah.
I think they have a good fan base. Their fans will definitely be ready to watch, and their team back in the postseason. And the Steelers, we know, always have a large fan base.
Yes.
So that's an interesting game. I think even though the Dolphins are on their backup QB, but Matt Moore has shown pretty well. He went 2-3 since he came in.
Good.
Patriots took care of him this weekend, but still, he's played serviceable, and the Steelers have been a little bit up and down, although I had not realized the Steelers have won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like they're all that impressive for a team that's won 7 in a row. That's kind of weird. This NFL season has teams that's going on winning streaks when no one's thought they were any good.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. Vegas has them as a 10-point favorite. I think that line's a little big.
Yeah, I do too.
And Vegas has the Packers as a 4.5-point favorite against your Giants. We know the history of your Giants against the Packers, specifically 2007 in that epic overtime game against the Brett Favre Packers. It was freezing cold that day, and that was the year, of course, the Giants went on to defeat the undefeated Patriots. We don't want to talk about that, right? We don't like talking about that game that much. No. And I think your Giants beat the Packers on their way to the second Eli Super Bowl as well, right? Yeah. In the postseason. So they have had the Packers' number in these postseason spots. We'll see. The Packers also winners of 6 in a row. I don't know that I would call them as that impressive, kind of like the Steelers.
Right.
But they did do what they had to do because it looked like they were on the brink of having no chance of making the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers said, I think we can run the table, and they did, winning 6 straight.
Yeah.
And they got the division, and they'll get a home game because of that, even though they don't have the bye week, so that's good for them. Patriots are on a bye, the number 1 seed. Chiefs on the bye as they snuck into number 2. On NFC, it's Cowboys and Falcons.
Yes.
The Atlanta Falcons with the 2 seed.
Well, Falcons have been on fire most of the
Matt Ryan getting some MVP talk. It's possible he could win it. A lot of people think Brady could win it, but we know he had that bogus suspension to start the season, so he did miss 4 games. But Brady, 11-1 since he came back. Best QB to interception ratio in the history of the NFL. 28 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions on the season. Mm-hmm. Pretty impressive. The defense, Bob, which gets much maligned and ridiculed. Number 1 defense giving up points in the league, 15 points per game.
Right.
I don't know. You give up 50 points per game, you're the number 1 in points allowed.
Right.
I don't know why they're considered a bad defense.
I don't. I consider
the name of the game is not giving up points, right?
No.
15 points per game. Just saying, Bob, they're not that bad.
No.
And the running game, they're much more balanced offensive this year. LeGarrette Blount with the blunt force trauma, 18 touchdowns this year. A huge year from him. And Neon Lewis is healthy, and they have James White, the 1-2 punch with the shifty backs out of the backfield on 3rd down. And they use Lewis actually to run the ball as well with a change of pace from the power back Blunt. So I like the Patriots' chances. I mean, they're going to play the Raiders or the Texans or the Dolphins next weekend on Saturday night. I do like their chances of making it to the conference championship, where they'll probably play either the Steelers or the Chiefs.
Right.
We will see how it pans out. What do you feel about your Giants going into Lambeau Field?
I hope they can come out with a win. Hopefully it's not a lopsided one, but
I would expect a tight game. I mean, the Giants have been making hay this year on defense. Early in the year when the Packers struggled, we saw teams give them problems defensively, and they really weren't able to move the ball.
I just worry about 4th quarter with the Giants, that's all.
Giants offensively have been pretty much an enigma. They have that big play ability, of course, with Beckham able to break things. Packers defensively have improved as they've gotten healthy at the second half of the year. And the Packers also running game has been stabilized. Right. Remember, they lost all their running backs. They were using wide receivers at running back for a while, but they've kind of stabilized their running game, which has allowed them to have a little more balance on offense as well. And Rodgers, of course, playing well. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game. I think history, it says the Giants will have no fear going into Lambeau. We know that much.
No.
So we'll see how it goes. But that's going to be the game of the day. Sunday are definitely the standalone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Saturday's games don't hold much interest, but Sunday will be good.
Saturday will be a very not much watched, I don't think.
Other things to talk about in the NFL. You know, the line.
Other than Sex and Rexy getting the axe again.
Yeah, well, and the other thing to mention for next weekend with the byes, how are the Cowboys going to do with the rookies leading the way?
I think they will do a lot better than having Tony Romo out there.
His history
embarrassment the last week.
Doesn't have great history, does he? So maybe it's a good thing that he's not playing. He did show off his ability to play a little bit in that meaningless game to end the year.
Right.
And then the other interesting thing, Bob, I had no idea this even happened.
What's that?
The Georgia Dome is coming down.
Really?
There's already a new building in place next door that they built. What is going on in Atlanta? Turner Field, which is brand new basically. They built it for the Olympics. That's gone. They got a new stadium. They're moving to a whole different part of town. And the Georgia Dome isn't even that old.
Must be nice to have money to spend.
What is going on in my former city of Atlanta? I lived there for years. I went to all those places.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. They were playing one of the college games there.
Right.
And they said this is the last college game to ever be played at the Georgia Dome. I was like, what? That is insane. I can't believe that. But, so I don't know. I mean, the Falcons don't have much success there historically, so I'm not sure is that like going to be a thing for the Falcons? We got to close the dome with a victory?
Yeah.
Like we've never had a victory before?
Yeah.
So like how is that going to work?
We're going to tear the stadium down right around them as they...
I don't know. But we'll see how if that gives the Falcons a little extra mojo for their thing. All right, the number's right there, 203-792-4101. Anybody wants to call. Sexy Rexy is out in Buffalo. He's done. The Jets staff is mostly gone, but Todd Bowles stays, although the rest of that staff is gone.
Coordinators and everything.
A couple other things I did want to mention. The Ravens, they gagged it up big time as they blew the division lead, and they fall out. It was actually a great day, Bob, in week 16, the second to last week of the year.
Right.
My two most hated teams, even really more than the Jets, the Ravens and the Broncos were both eliminated on the same day. That was really something special. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
I'm sure you did.
Merry Christmas weekend. I think that was on Christmas, or actually they played those games on Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was enjoyable. I did like that. So first time since 2003 that both teams from the Super Bowl, neither one made it back to the playoffs as the Broncos are out.
The Super Bowl is being played in
Houston. We don't think they're going to play.
I mean, now the
that
weird
will
things
continue.
have never. You notice that anybody who hosts a Super Bowl has never made it.
Right, but Houston's in the playoffs.
Right. I mean,
we don't think they'll make it.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see it, but it would.
The Browns, your Browns you were tracking all year, Bob, finally got their victory.
Yes, I saw that.
Who'd they beat? The Chargers?
Chargers.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
So they got their one win.
Right. And the other teams that gagged were the Colts, were complete gag fest all year, and the Vikings, Bob. I still just can't get over the fact they were the last.
How can Minnesota have started out with one of the best?
They were 5-0, the last undefeated team in the league.
And went.
And they lost every game after the bye week, basically. The other team the two teams that kind of suffered, Marcus Mariota, the QB for the Titans, broke his leg the same day that Carr did for the Raiders. And they lost a tiebreaker to Houston. They finished tied with them, but they lost a tiebreaker. And the Buccaneers, who had the great second half of the year, lost the tiebreaker on the wild card to the Lions. They finished with the same record. So two young teams up and coming to watch for next year. Both lost on a tiebreaker this year.
So do you think Seattle beats the Lions?
I think Seattle does beat the Lions. They've been kind of a weird team, although they are still 7-1 at home. They got that 12th man up there, and the Lions just don't look that impressive. They faded down the stretch big time. I think the Raiders somehow are going to figure out a way to beat the Texans.
I think so.
Just because they've had such a great year, I think they're going to just figure out something, even though they're in a desperate QB situation.
Right.
And then I don't know. I'm not going to pick your Giants-Packers game. I'll leave that to you, but I think the Steelers end up beating the Dolphins. All right, college football, as we got to keep moving. We're inside 10 minutes. A rematch for the college football championship. I think the outcome is going to be a little different this year. It's Clemson versus Bama.
Yeah, I think Clemson has a better
overall team this year. I think they're also playing a little bit looser. Remember last year they were undefeated through the year. They were the #1 team. They had a lot of pressure on them. It was their first time being in the championship game in a very long time. This year they had a couple of hiccups where they were looking a little tight.
Right.
I think they had kind of a hangover from the whole thing. They had a little extra pressure just trying to get back.
Right.
But as you saw in the semifinal, the destruction shutout of Ohio State, you know, they obviously feel a little bit looser perhaps as they made it back, got through the regular season, and here they are going into the championship game. And Bama has this interesting thing with Lane Kiffin, the offensive coordinator, getting the axe as he took that other job. And 5 days before the championship game, they said, that's it, you're done. We're not going to have you coach the final game. Just go and get out of here. We're sick of you. So that's going to be interesting. They have that rookie QB with a new offensive coordinator going to be talking in his ear.
Right.
But those games both were duds as they, throttled Washington, which left everybody to wonder, why was Ohio State in the semifinal when you saw Penn State 2 days later on January 2nd in the Rose Bowl go for 48 points in a 58-48 loss to USC, who also, didn't USC beat Washington?
Right.
And Penn State beat Ohio State.
Right.
Whatever, college football is a joke.
Well, the thing is, like we talked about before the show, why do we have so many bowl games? Do you really need to have 30 bowl games? We used to be only had like 8.
Too many bowl games for one.
Yeah.
The schedule itself was ridiculous. The semifinal being played on New Year's Eve.
Right.
And then 2 days later, you had a whole slate of games because all of a sudden January 2nd is a holiday. I couldn't figure that out.
And we don't have the big game until.
Why wasn't the semifinal played on the 2nd?
Right.
You play the Rose Bowl and all that stuff before. You can't have more games after the semifinal and in between the semifinal and the final. That makes no sense. College football doesn't know what they're doing. I will mention real quick as we got to keep moving. Colorado State did play the highest scoring bowl game in the history of college football bowl games, the Great Potato Bowl or whatever it was up in Idaho. They did lose 61-50. Bob, they were getting beat 20-7 at the half and 41-7 in the third quarter. Somehow they ended up putting up 50 points anyways.
Do we mention about UConn?
The coaching situation for the UConn men's football team. Bob Diaco, no surprise he got fired at 11-26, especially when they lost 6 straight to end the season and they got blown out in every single one of those games. The big surprise, and it is worth mentioning, Bob, that in his second year, they did go 6-6 with that big upset of Houston late, and they got into a bowl game. So it is worth mentioning that, but they collapsed this year. The shock is they bring back Randy Edsall. Now, if you look at Edsall's record, 74-70 from 1999 to 2010, that's not so bad. 2 Big East championships, plus the last time we saw him, he had them in a BCS championship game, or the bowl games, one of those BCS games, the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. The problem is that was the last time we saw him on the field coaching the team because he never saw the team again. He never saw the state of Connecticut again. He jumped on a plane and flew to Maryland while the team flew back to Connecticut. He never addressed the team or anybody in Connecticut again. He left them out. He pulled the Bill Parcells after the 96 Super Bowl.
Take care.
When Parcells got on a plane and flew to the Jets and left the Patriots high and dry after that Super Bowl. No, he just completely mistreated the team. It was a disgrace. And then he had a bad run for Maryland. And he got fired after a few years there, but yet they bring him back. Wow. I was shocked. I was traveling the day he came back. I saw that news 2 days later, and I had to read that headline like 10 times. I was like, what?
Back like he was.
Is this like a flash? Am I reading news from 10 years ago? Why are they talking about Randy Edsall? Shocking. UConn men's basketball, I don't know if it's shocking or just disappointing.
I think it's disappointing.
5-8, 0-2 in conference after the win against Syracuse where they thought maybe they were going to turn things around. It turns out Syracuse is no good. They lose 62-46 at Houston. 12 points they scored in the first half of that game, Bob. 61-59 in overtime. A tough, very tough loss against Tulsa. So, not so good. They're Sunday, they're at Memphis tonight, actually, as soon as we get off the air at 7 o'clock. And Sunday, they head to UCF. And UCF is 12-3, 3-0. The division right now, it's Houston 13-3, 3-0. SMU 13-3, 3-0. UCF, we just mentioned. And Cincinnati, the team, one of their teams always makes it into our show somehow. We get Cincinnati references all the time. 12-2, 2-0. So UConn at 0-2 and 5-8 is in dire straits.
Basketball.
What's up with Coach K with the suspension of Grayson Allen, indefinite suspension for multiple kicking and foul behavior on the court? How long did that suspension last for Duke, Bob? Indefinite suspension, 1 game.
Yeah.
He was back last night. Yeah, great job by Coach K and Duke right down there. All right, we're running out of time, so we won't go through too much more of college. I will mention quick, because we're running out of time, Celtics are healthy and playing like we thought they would, 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Celtics have moved to 21-14, so we're happy about that.
Yeah.
And they did say Merry Christmas to the Knicks.
Yes.
With a nice little victory at the Garden.
That's what I'm saying.
Knicks struggling, falling out of playoff contention at 16-9. They're in 10th right now in the division. So they're not looking too good. And how about Isaiah Thomas for the Celtics, Bob? Did you see that 52-point game he had?
I did.
Which is only 5 players in Celtic history have ever gone over 50.
Right.
He scored 29 points in the fourth quarter, which was second only to Wilt Chamberlain's 31 in fourth quarter scoring. That's impressive. We got a minute left. We'll mention the fact that your Rangers are now tied with the Penguins in second place because I didn't even know this team was in your division, the Metropolitan. Columbus, who's going for the record tonight, 16 straight wins, which is unheard of, really, in the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking to tie the Pittsburgh Penguins record of the Mario Lemieux days of 17 wins.
Right.
And they are in the nation's capital, D.C., tonight, trying to get that 17th victory. So we'll see. My Bruins, as inconsistent as ever, 4-4-2 in their last 10. They're in third place.
So we are live next week.
We are live next week. We'll get more into some of the NBA and hockey standings, and we'll have a new college football champion, or maybe a defending champion repeating.
And we shall see what happens with the football.
And maybe your Giants will still be alive. All right, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. And go check out Fatty Roots.